Welcome to another jam-packed episode of the Sports Card Nation podcast, the show that brings you all the important news from the sports card hobby. We'll have some debates, opinions, new release schedules, and info. Plus, we'll also discuss the sports that so directly affect the hobby we all love. We'll mix in an occasional gambling tip or two, throw in some life stuff, and bring you great guest interviews from the hobby and sports dignitaries. And if you're good listeners, we may even give away a few things now and then. Now, here's the guy who wanted the cards and not the gum, John Newman.
Welcome back. Here we are again, Sports Card Nation podcast. This time bringing episode 36 your way. Going to be probably a little shorter podcast than you're probably accustomed to if you listen to the show. Just me today, but nonetheless, we are going to touch on some hobby topics. Some new news on the scandal going on with the trimming. We'll talk about those and what's new in that regard. A huge release week as far as products in the hobby portion of the world. And part of the reason for the huge release week, as we all know, the 40th Annual National is taking place in Chicago. And yours truly is going to make it. Did not look good for a while. Very interesting story. How this all went down, to be honest with you. I think you'll find it interesting. I'm going to save those details for the hobby section of the pod, but we will be at the Nationals. We're getting in Thursday night, and we'll be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we're excited. I'll save some of that story behind that for the hobby segment. As far as next week's show, I'm not sure there's going to be one, to be honest with you, as we record during the week, and I won't be in the home studio, and I'll be in Chicago, and I'm sure I'll be getting some sound bites and clips, but not being in the home studio, and I'm not traveling with any of my recording equipment, so probably not going to see episode 37 until the following week, which will be Friday the 9th. So we're going to take a week off. We're not really taking a week off. Obviously, we'll be in the Chicago meeting a lot of people, talking to a lot of people, maybe even recording some on-the-go interviews with my digital recorder, if you will. But as far as the show, we're probably going to take a week off to get that done and come back strong on August 9th with episode 37. So that's exciting. Kind of, like I said, interesting how that all went down. I'll talk about that during the hobby segment. Again, a lot of releases coming out in the upcoming week here in sync with the National and the event that is. Not a huge sports news week, but there is some news on that horizon, and we'll talk about that as well. So,
and here we go.
Sports Card Nation Podcast is your weekly hobby and sports podcast, now on 10 platforms: iTunes, Google Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, Radio Public, Anchor, Pocket Cast, Breaker, CastBox, and Overcast. Listen to in over 26 countries globally, Sports Card Nation Podcast is one of the most interactive podcasts around, providing great content, giveaways, and some of the hobby's best interview guests without time constraints. Thousands can't be wrong. We want to thank all the wonderful listeners around the world, all our great guests, and our tremendous sponsors for making us what we are today. As always, without you, there is no us.
All right, it's time for What's cracking. All right, we'll start the hobby segment of the show. Let's start off by going over the new release schedule for the upcoming week. July 26, 2019, Panini Encased Basketball. On the 31st, and the 31st is a huge day of releases, almost double digits in releases, obviously in conjunction with the National. Nothing new if you know anything about the hobby and that show, that these releases come out because the National, or at least they're planned that way. So on the 31st, these are all products releasing just in time for that. 2019 Leaf Metal Pop Century. 2019 Topps Chrome Baseball. 2019 Topps WWE Undisputed Wrestling. 2018-19 Upper Deck Chronologically Volume 1 Hockey. 2019 Panini Majestic Football. 2019 Leaf in the Game Used Sports. 2019 Panini Immaculate Collegiate. And 2018-19 Contenders Optic Basketball. So a lot of heavy release week, and like I said, in conjunction with the arrival of the 40th annual National Convention this year, being held in Chicago, Illinois, a place I've been to once before, about 9 years ago, I believe, 8-9 years ago, and I'm going to be going there again. And interesting story how that all went down. If you allow me, I'll tell you how it went. You know, I've been really trying to efforting, in support of the show, wanted to be there. So the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been kind of trying to pin down some airfare, hotel rooms, and it just logistically, it wasn't working out very good. Either airfare was pricey or the times didn't jive. I can't go the whole week. I can be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I was trying to get all the logistics worked out, and either the airfare was a little too pricey or I couldn't get accommodations. I was trying to avoid having to rent a car and avoid that bill, and obviously being this late in the game, you're not going to get a lot of lodging or accommodations close to the Donald Stevens Convention Center. So things looked kind of bleak on that. I even said so on this very program, that not looking good. And, but every once in a while I'd fire the computer up and go to all those travel sites, Expedia, Trivago, you know them all. And they should actually pay me for mentioning their name. But those sites, and, it just didn't work out. And I thought, well, even if you get the hotel or even if you get the flight, without the room, you got, everything's got to kind of line up. The stars got to line up perfectly. So again, really not looking good. And then I was talking to a person you may know, great hobby, great human being, Marlon Carlson from Sparty Hawk Cash, a person I consider a friend, and he asked me if I was going. I said, I don't think it, I don't know if it's going to work out. I'm kind of trying. And then, yesterday, he said, hey, I might have I have a double bed in my room. I might have an extra bed if you can get here. And so I kind of went back and started to look at airfare again. And we have 3 airports here in the Syracuse area. Now, they're not in the city. We have one in Ithaca, which is about an hour south of Syracuse here. And then we have another one in Rochester, which is about an hour and 15 minutes west. And to tell you the truth, it's honestly cheaper to fly out of those airports. And you just got to travel a little bit, park your car, and that sort of thing. So I was planning on going that route and getting the cheaper airfare. And my wife kind of did her own little computer search using those travel sites, and she found a fare out of the Syracuse airport, which is literally 5 minutes from my house here, Thursday night, and very affordable, not a bad deal, and leaves really perfect time Thursday night, so I can get to work and then leave work a little early, jump on that flight, get to Chicago. It's a direct flight, 2 hours, and it leaves. And all the flights, when I was looking up initially, the first time on my own, I need a return flight on Sunday, but every time I found a good one for Thursday, the returns that were affordable were always like Sunday 10 a.m. And then obviously the show's still going on. I don't want to leave that early. But this flight my wife found is return trip leaving 6 p.m. Sunday night. So I'll get back here in the Syracuse area about 8 p.m., unwind a little bit and get ready to go back to the grind on Monday, which is no problem. So it worked out. I want to give a huge, sincere shout out and love to Marlon for making that happen. We're going to be roommates. I can't promise anybody safety, including our own. Okay, but without him stepping up like that and making that offer, and this wouldn't even be happening. So like I said, I actually had stopped even looking for flights and kind of was, thinking it was kind of a done deal. We wouldn't be making the trip. And like I said, he came through in a huge way. I can't thank him enough. I've thanked him directly, but, I want to thank him publicly as well. And I'm looking forward to rooming with him and hanging with him and talking hobby and talking life. He's a great guy, a great hobby advocate, and my kind of guy. I already know. So we're gonna have fun, I'm sure, in some capacity. And like I joked with him, if it goes well, maybe we'll just it'll have to be an annual tradition. We'll be the odd couple and roomies at every national going forward from here if it works out. So again, Marlon, thank you. Most people know who you are and know what kind of person you are, and if they don't, I want them to know that now. So, we're gonna have fun. It's if you've heard the show, I've opened my first pack in 1979. I started doing shows at 15 years old in 1987. I opened up my first card store in 1992 to 1996. So 4 years there, and then I transitioned, like a lot of people, from brick and mortar to the online presence with the birth of eBay, and I've been doing that since. There was a few years there where I kind of went dormant, but then came back. And in all those years that I've been involved in the hobby, which is 30 plus, I've never went to the national. This will be the first one. So a little bit of a little kid kind of excitement, if you will. And then just when you think it really can't get better, I reached out to my friend Drew Herndon. You may know him as the host of Let Me Get That Potograph. We talk every so often. He's been very helpful to me, and we kind of formed a little bit of a bond. And I let him know, hey man, he was asking me if I was going to make it, and at different points I said I'm trying, it's probably going to happen, and it was, like I said, not going to happen. And so then when Marlon did me that huge solid like that, like I said, I reached out to a few people, Drew being one of them, and said, hey man, good news, I'm going to make it. And he said, well, let me, he was happy about it, and he said, hey, let me talk to you. I might have an idea. Let me see what's going on. And the next day he got back to me and he said, hey, how would you like to, do a segment with me on the main stage? We're going to open some Topps Chrome, donated by Mojo Break. It's a Topps Chrome jumbo box. Going to be obviously a new release, very hot. And Drew invited me on 11 to 12 on the main stage there at the Donald Stevens Convention Center, and we'll open that box. It's his show. I'm going to let him open most of it, but if he's nice enough, he'll let me open a few of them. And he's going to be gracious enough to give all those cards open in those packs out to those in attendance and taking in the show. So it's a win-win for everybody. I'm excited to meet Drew in person, do a live broadcast with him. It's really going to be an honor and a thrill. I can't thank him enough. I thanked him obviously off the air and talking to him, but I want to give a public shout out and thank you to Drew Herndon for being gracious enough to ask me and allow me to do as such. So that's going to be exciting. A lot of exciting things, man. I'm going to be sort of like a kid in a candy store. I'll probably put on a pretty brave front, but inside I'll be get all giddy as all get up. So again, great people in this hobby. And there's so many great people and great things going on. And you just, you don't even have to look that hard. They're there. You just got to want to see them and acknowledge them and that sort of thing. So, Marlon and Drew, without either of these guys, these things wouldn't happen. So I want to say I'm grateful for that and the opportunity and thanks to the there's not too many gentlemen finer than these two guys in the hobby, and if there are, it's a tie. So thanks guys, and I'll see you here in a week, and we'll have some fun. The other thing I'm really excited for, past the cards, it's our tagline on this show, and if you know what the tagline is, it's the hobby is the people, and it's something I believe in. I came up with that tagline myself, or slogan, the hobby is the people. And I've interviewed a lot of great people on this show. I'm looking forward to interviewing a lot more great people and getting to the national kind of unexpectedly last minute like this really's got me excited, because one of the things I was disappointed in not maybe being able to go was I was looking forward to getting to meet a lot of the people I've interviewed on this show, but getting to meet them in person, shaking their hand, taking a photo with them and having that moment with them. And so, now that I get to go, that's back on again. And I think that's, as crazy as it sounds for me, listen, I've been in the hobby a long time. I know the National's great. I know it's the biggest card show. It's the Super Bowl of the hobby. Let's call it what it is. And, but I've been to thousands of card shows. I've set up at multitudes of card shows in my career. So, I love the cards. I have a passion for it. But I think meeting people and different people and great people like that, I'm looking forward more to that, believe it or not, than the card aspect. And I'm looking forward to both. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying one I don't care about at all, but I think meeting those people in person and again, talking to them in person, shaking their hand and saying,
How you doing?
And creating memories that you'll remember that more than that, Jordan PSA 10 in someone's showcase. And that's cool too. Don't get me wrong. That's always a great thing too, but the hobby is the people, and I'm going to get to meet some great people, and that's always a positive and something I'm definitely looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the event, promoting the show there and kind of putting myself out there and people can see the ugly guy behind the mic. Like I said, I have a face for podcasting, and you're going to see that in live and living color if you go. But I'm a people guy. It's what I do in my real job as well. And so I'm looking forward to that aspect. And it's going to be a good time. I'm not kind of going in with any kind of, I'm going to do this at this time, I'm going to do that. Not yet anyway. I'm sure there'll be some more plans made the closer we get in towards the show, and as things trickle out and pan out, I'm sure I'll be doing some certain things at certain times. But the biggest thing is getting to meet people, and rooming with Marlon. Like I said, I'm sure we're going to get along splendidly, and we're going to have a good time, and so I'm looking forward to the whole ball of wax.
It's going to be legend. Wait for it. And I hope you're not lactose intolerant, because the second half of that word is dairy.
So what isn't legendary is, what's the bad side of what's going on in the hobby. And then, again, I've always said with this program, we're going to speak of both. Here I just spoke at length about the upcoming National and getting to go, and it didn't look good, and great people and a great person that allowed that to occur. And now we got to talk about, the whole picture. And so there's some news on the trimming front, if you will. I don't like to really talk about stuff that's kind of old. These are some new wrinkles, okay? The sleuths that be from the forums have determined there's 316 cards of significance altered. I'm going to be honest with you. I think we're in the thousands. Maybe it's 316 that have been specifically identified, but I'm sure we're in the four-figure realm. I think most will agree with that as well. Brett Hudgens, PWCC's CEO and owner, if you will, after kind of a statement did not really make him look good. He went on another show and kind of defended altering and comparing it to, paintings being restored and that sort of thing. He's now reportedly cooperating with the feds, and the feds and the authorities are allegedly involved. What does that mean? I think sometimes we read too much into that. The feds can investigate everything, but it costs money to prosecute. And I have a little bit of background in this. There's many cases, criminal cases, that never get tried because of the amount of money it will cost to bring that to trial. In a government's mind outweighs the end result. Whether you like that statement or not, or don't agree with it, it doesn't matter. That's their decision how far they pursue it. And what I wonder is going to happen here, and I don't know. This is just me, playing analyst or devil's advocate, if you will, is armchair DA or armchair, Fed. Is I don't know if they're going to put the money into this case to push this all the way across the finish line. I think what they're doing now, and again, all speculation on my part here, but I think what they're doing now is just getting some feelers out there, taking some notes, talking to people, just seeing how far and widespread this is, and then they're going to have to probably do some math. Is this, it's going to cost us this to prosecute these people or these organizations? Is this time and money commitment worth what could come out of this in the end? And that's what they're going to have to determine. And if you're asking me, I'm going to think that this may never be prosecuted. Maybe some stuff gets leaked out. Some, names are already out there. You can look them up, and organizations, PSA has been portrayed in a negative fashion, PWCC, other companies as well, Probstein and the like. And so maybe the feds just think, well, rather than even prosecute, we can just investigate and get those names out there, and that will do enough damage to put them out of business, and maybe deter not only them from illegal activities, but other people who see this going on and maybe would think about it, maybe will think twice. And so I'm going to say maybe nothing really comes of it, as far as being in a courtroom. But I don't know. I don't know what people are saying behind closed doors. I don't know how far the feds really want to pursue it and how much manpower and money they want to throw into a case like this. That's really going to be they say like money rules everything, or money's the deciding factor in most things in life, and it's going to be that in this case as well. How much does the government want to spend to prosecute people doing illegal stuff in a sports card hobby? And truth be told, they've prosecuted cases before. This would not be the first time. So it's not beyond the realm of imagination that they do proceed to court and proceed with charges being filed against companies and individuals. I don't think that's, never going to happen. But I just wonder if it is, and time's going to tell. We'll see what happens. We'll see, what people saying behind the scenes and how much dirt they're giving up and spilling is going to, determine a lot of things. It's probably a safe bet to assume Brent Hudgens is probably trying to get an immunity deal. I'll give up everybody else and you leave me alone and I can walk away. And probably not a bad play by him if that's what he's doing. He's kind of, saving himself and throwing everyone under the bus. Now, whether his company, PWCC, survives that, probably not. I don't know. We'll see there as well. But, you hate these stories. I know certain other people sort of revel in them and enjoy kind of reporting about them. And I take the opposite side of the coin. I'd rather be talking about mostly positive stuff, but that can't always be the case. I think we're really fooling ourselves if we buy into that. There's nothing bad happens in the hobby. I think we all know. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So we'll see how this plays out. This thing is continuing to roll down the tracks. Now, how far that journey goes is what we need to see.
We love our listeners. Without you, there is no us. We care about your opinions and feedback and invite you to reach out to us on any of our social media accounts. On Instagram at Sports Card Nation Podcast, Twitter at SportsCardNati1, or email the show at sportscardnationpc@gmail.com. We don't ask for much, but if you really like the show, give us a shout out. Tell your friends or give us a follow on our social medias. If you enjoy the show, please give us a positive review on iTunes or any of the platforms you are listening on. Thank you.
What's hotter than the fireworks on the 4th of July? The breaks over at Deep Fried Breaks. They're your one-stop shop for all your breaking needs. Blake is on top of his game with the friendliest and most knowledgeable service you'll find. They're one of the fastest shippers in the industry, and whether it's old or new or the hottest product on the market, they're probably breaking it. Go to deepfriedbreaks.com. Tell them Sports Card Nation sent you, and you'll get a discount promo code. deepfriedbreaks.com for all your breaking needs.
For over 25 years, Newman Sports Cars has set the standard in customer service in the hobby, including same-day shipping. They've added trading card supplies and wax products to their already impressive arsenal of rookie cards, game-used cards, autographed and graded cards. Check their fully searchable website out by Googling Newman Sports Cards or go to bit.ly/Newman Sports Cards. Give them a follow on their social medias on Instagram, Newman_sportscards, and on Twitter @NewMSportsCards, or give them a call or text at 315-491-0239. Newman Sports Cards. For all your hobby needs.
It's time for From the Box Seat. So let's go to the sports world and see what's going on there. Big news in the basketball side, off the court news, obviously. Zion Williamson signs his shoe deal with Jordan Brand, 5 years, and it's the richest rookie shoe deal in the history of the sport. So he's getting paid like a veteran, as they say. And this guy has really a chance to, cement his legacy. He hasn't even really stepped on the court officially in an NBA capacity, and he's already, in a sense, a legend, off the court. So we'll see, how his game's going to translate. I know the Pelicans really didn't play him much in the summer league to not risk an injury after he did get a little nicked up in his first performance. So, they're really banking on this guy. I think the league's, in a way, banking on this guy a little bit to kind of be the next face, to kind of come in and be a little bit of the face of the league, if you will, the younger guard. And, it's going to be fun to watch. The NBA right now, there's no more real super teams when you really think about it. Where those teams where there's 3 superstars on them. We got a lot of 2 superstar teams and a good 10 to 15 of them. So I think a parity is at an all-time high in the NBA. And it's not my favorite of the 4 sports, but the fact that kind of parity's back, it's moving back up that ranks for me again, where I kind of fell off when I always felt like there was really only 1 or 2 teams before the season even started that were going to win, and usually that's what happened. And now I think we're at a point where there's a good 10 to 18 teams that have a chance to win this, and the competitive balance is back, and I think the league is going to thrive from that. And Zion Williamson and this other, the other rookies in this class, after a great rookie class last year, now it looks like making another one on top of it. And, we talk about football, the football rookie classes with 2018 being, as I've proclaimed, the best rookie class ever. And I'll be honest with you, the 2019 football rookie class is not even close, at least in my mind, or on paper in my mind. So I think in basketball, that's not the case. I think this year's rookie class is going to be very similar, very close. And so 2 years in a row, they're having an exceptional young crop of players, rookies coming in to keep that momentum going. And now with that competitive balance more widespread throughout the league, I think it's going to be a fun league to watch. Not that it wasn't really before, but even more so now. And for someone like me who's not a diehard NBA guy, those guys like me are going to kind of come back, I think, in droves, and me being one of them. So going to be fun NBA season, see some of the storylines, and there's going to be drama as we approach the start. And it's like a soap opera sometimes. It's always fun to see what's going to happen next. I've compared the NBA to a little bit of WWE with some storylines and people talking about this person, and I don't want those sort of things. And I'd be lying if I said it didn't give us some fodder for the show. So for that, I'm thankful. Hall of Fame inductions were this week. Obviously, the first ever unanimous inductee, Mariano Rivera, went in. I listened to all the speeches. I thought they were all very well done. There's some people that will argue that this is the worst Hall of Fame class. Not the worst Hall of Fame class, wrong set of words there, but there's a few people that some people say shouldn't be in. 15-year guys that were on the ballot 15 years and had to be voted in by the writers or the Veterans Committee, that being Lee Smith and Harold Baines. And, the argument is if you can't get in 15 years, you probably shouldn't. I guess, those are kind of guys you can make an argument either way for, and if that's the argument that you can make an argument either way for that you shouldn't get in, then that would be the stance you take. I don't think Harold Baines. I probably wouldn't. Kind of compiler. Didn't play defense a lot, if at all, and Edgar Martinez. When I first thought of him, I thought he was a very good player. When I thought of him, I didn't necessarily think Hall of Famer. And then when I really looked at his stats and accomplishments, I really changed my own mind. When I really looked at it more specifically. So I guess you could argue Lee Smith. I mean, at one point, Lee Smith was the all-time saves leader. So I don't know how you kind of don't put someone like that in, but there's other people arguing that he shouldn't be. And you're always going to have those opinions and debates. That's what makes sports and the hobby so great. I heard one analyst call it, while Mariano was kind of a shoo-in, he even said, Halladay and Mussina weren't like no-brainers, truthfully, and Martinez and Baines the same thing. And his argument was this was the most 50-50 type, should they be in Hall of Fame class of all time. I'm not sure I agree with that. I'm sure there's been more no-doubter classes, obviously, if you want to make that argument. But, you don't want to take anything away from these guys on their day to get into to the Hall of Fame. So congrats to all the new Hall of Famers on your induction. Sticking to baseball, Addison Russell not having a good run lately after coming off suspension, struggling mightily with the Cubs, and they've sent him down to the minor league. So his days as a Cub may be numbered. It looks like there's kind of a separation probably going to occur there, and so he may be on his way out of town, especially with the trade deadline. We don't know. Speaking of the trade deadline, I think, like I said on the last show, I think it's going to be a heavy pitching movement type trade deadline. A lot of pitchers might go, one being from my favorite team, Noah Syndergaard. Rumored that the Yankees are really hot to trot on him, and it's also rumored that the Mets have really kind of come to terms that they do want to move him. They've always kind of like teased it before, but the powers that be are supposedly have come to terms where it's time to part ways. So as a Met fan, I like Thor. If they do trade him, what makes me nervous is this front office is inept, and they're the laughingstock of baseball, and I'm just hoping we don't get like a bag of peanuts for Noah. We got rooked in the Cano Diaz deal, giving up Kelenic and Justin Dunn and Bruce and Swarzik and some other minor leaguers, Gerson Bautista, and I just hope they don't get fleeced again. So other pitchers will probably be moved. There's a lot of teams in the hunt for third, fourth, fifth type starters for their playoff push. So I think you're going to see a lot of prospects. You prospectors like me, first Bowman, you're going to see some of those guys, I think, change organizations and maybe even get fast-tracked sooner to their path to the big leagues, depending on where those guys land. So always a fun time, the trade deadline, to see who gets moved and what young prospects have new places to call home. Going to football, camps are getting ready. It's a sign that summer's kind of winding down. When football training camps open up, it's kind of the first sign that summer's kind of on the back nine, if you will, to use a golf term. So summer's on the back nine. Football camps are opening up, and it's I'm a huge football guy, so I'm cool with it. And on a personal note, my son opens his first college football camp here in a couple weeks. 19 days to be exact. So he's excited. We're excited for him as he takes that next step in his academic and athletic career. Also in football, the Green Bay Packers have cut defensive lineman Mike Daniels, a salary cap casualty. Still a solid player, but he was just counting too much against the cap for them. I'm sure there'll be a lot of teams suiting for his services, and he'll have a new home shortly. Let's head back to basketball. One thing I wanted to comment on, I don't know if everyone saw, Kawhi Leonard took a little bit of a dig at the Lakers. When they asked him, the press asked him at the press conference, about him not going to Lakers and why the Clippers and how is it going to be playing in the Lakers' shadow in the same arena. And I gotta be honest with you, I liked his response. And if you didn't hear it, he basically told the reporter, you might want to check the numbers. As of recently, the Clippers are the better Los Angeles team. I thought it was a great response and probably going to be bulletin board material, and I think it also shows there's a little bit of something going on there where he's rumored to sign with the Lakers. There's rumors that Magic Johnson got him upset, and so there's a little more underneath the surface that we may not all know all the details. So that'll be fun to watch too. That little in-house, in-conference rivalry, and Kawhi's shot the first shot off there with that statement. So shots fired, as the young kids say. Kawhi took out the pistol first. So that's going to wrap it up for Sports Card Nation Podcast, episode 36. Couple programming notes. Episode 37 would have normally come out and been scheduled for Friday, August 2nd. We're going to be in Chicago at the National, obviously, and I'm not going to have the equipment I would normally have if I was in the home studio. I'll have my digital voice recorder to do some on-site interviews, but I won't have the production stuff to produce an episode. So we're gonna take a week off, give you a Friday off, and we're gonna come back strong with episode 37 on August 9th. As you might guess, it's going to be Nationals heavy with probably some clips and sound and from that event itself being there. And speaking of the National, one of the themes probably gathered from this particular episode is, like I said, the tagline, the hobby is the people. And I've been blessed and fortunate to know and meet some really great hobby people, really salt of the earth, down to earth, help you out, do stuff for you. If I may be so bold, I consider myself of the same ilk. So it's nice to have that kind of circle and know those kind of people. And I want to acknowledge that and say thank you, to everyone that's come on the show and given their time and their insight and shared what they do, with Sports Card Nation, with everyone listening. And, I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of those people, next week and shake hands and talk and make that meeting in person. And so, like I said earlier on the program, it's probably one of the things I'm most looking forward to is meeting those people I've kind of met in the online world and come on the show and kind of meeting them in person, shake their hand, thank them for what they do and being who they are and that sort of thing. I think that's very important. But even more so than that, folks, I'm looking forward to meeting even just people who might listen to the show, or whether you listen to the show or not, just meeting fellow hobbyists, reaching out, promoting the show a little bit. I'm not going to be a salesman by any stretch of the imagination, but just getting to meet people, shake hands, talk about the hobby, talk about what's going on. And it's one thing, talking in the mic and listening, it's a great medium. Don't get me wrong. I love doing it, but there's nothing like social interaction where you're in company of someone in real time, face to face, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to meeting people. If you're a listener of the show and you see me there in Chicago in the Donald Stevens Convention Center, by all means, don't be shy to approach me. Come up to me, let me know what you think of the show, good or bad. Okay, we make mistakes. We do things that maybe you like to see something different. By all means, I'm not gonna bite your head off. Tell me what you think. Tell me the good. Tell me the bad. Give me some ideas of what you want to see, and that sort of thing. I've always said that from day one of the show. We care about what you think. We want to hear from you either way, whatever you have to say, and no better way to do it than in person. I look forward to that. Like I said, I look forward to meeting people. I think I'm more excited for that than maybe even the card aspect, but I'm excited for both. And it's going to be my first national. Somehow, I don't get it. 39 years in the hobby, I just never went. And now I'm going to the first one. So it's hard to explain kind of the excitement I'm feeling, but who can probably explain it the best for me? Steve Ballmer, owner of the LA Clippers. He can explain kind of how I'm feeling about going to the National next week. Steve?
Fired up to be here today. It's pretty cool. Pretty damn cool. Woo!
See you in Chi-Town, folks.
You've been listening to the Sports Card Nation podcast. Join host John Newman next week as he gives you another jam-packed episode of all things related to the sports card hobby. And a little extra fun, too. Don't forget to check out the show on Instagram at Sports Card Nation Podcast.